Section 27 of The Dream of the Red Chamber, Book 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Elizabeth Buchanan. The Dream of the Red Chamber, Book 1 by Cao Xueqin. Translated by Henry Bencraft Joly. Chapter 12, Part 2. Taking up again the thread of the conversation, Chia Se remarked: "Now when I let you go, I'm quite ready to bear the blame; but the gate at our old lady's over there is already bolted, and Mr. Chia Cheng is just now engaged in the hall, looking at the things which have arrived from Nanking, so that it would certainly be difficult for you to pass through that way. The only safe course, at present, is by the back gate; but if you do go by there, and perchance meet any one, even I will be in for a mess; so you might as well wait until I go first and have a peep, when I'll come and fetch you. You couldn't anyhow conceal yourself in this room, for in a short time they'll be coming to stow the things away, and you had better let me find a safe place for you." These words ended, he took hold of Chia Jui, and extinguishing again the lantern, he brought him out into the court, feeling his way up to the bottom of the steps of the large terrace. "It's safe enough in this nest," he observed, "but just squat down quietly, and don't utter a sound. Wait until I come back before you venture out." Having concluded this remark, the two of them, Chia Se and Chia Jung, walked away, while Chia Jui was, all this time, out of his senses, and felt constrained to remain squatting at the bottom of the terrace stairs. He was about to consider what course was open for him to adopt, when he heard a noise just over his head, and, with a splash, the contents of a bucket consisting entirely of filthy water was emptied straight down over him from above, drenching, as luck would have it, his whole person and head. Chia Jui could not suppress an exclamation. "Ai ya!" he cried, but he hastily stopped up his mouth with his hands, and did not venture to give vent to another sound. His whole head and face were a mass of filth, and his body felt icy cold; but as he shivered and shook, he espied Chia Se come running. "Get off!" he shouted, "with all speed! Off with you at once!" As soon as Chia Jui returned to life again, he bolted with hasty strides out of the back gate, and ran the whole way home. The night had already reached the third watch, so that he had to knock at the door for it to be opened. "What's the matter?" inquired the servants, when they saw him in this sorry plight; an inquiry which placed him in the necessity of making some false excuse. "The night was dark," he explained, "and my foot slipped, and I fell into a gutter." Saying this, he betook himself speedily to his own apartment, and it was only after he had changed his clothes and performed his ablutions, that he began to realise that lady Feng had made a fool of him. He consequently gave way to a fit of wrath. But, upon recalling to mind the charms of lady Feng's face, he felt again extremely aggrieved that he could not there and then clasp her in his embrace; and as he indulged in these wild thoughts and fanciful ideas, he could not the whole night long close his eyes. From this time forward his mind was, it is true, still with lady Feng, but he did not have the courage to put his foot into the Jung mansion; and with Chia Jung and Chia Se both coming, time and again, to dun him for the money, he was likewise full of fears lest his grandfather should come to know everything. His passion for lady Feng was, in fact, already a burden hard to bear; and when, moreover, the troubles of debts were superadded to his tasks, which were also during the whole day arduous, he, a young man of about 20, as yet unmarried, and a prey to constant cravings for lady Feng which were difficult to gratify, could not avoid giving way, to a great extent, to such evil habits as exhausted his energies. His lot had, what is more, been on 2 occasions to be frozen, angered, and to endure much hardship, so that with the attacks received time and again from all sides, he unconsciously soon contracted an organic disease. In his heart inflammation set in, his mouth lost the sense of taste, his feet got soft as cotton from weakness, his eyes stung as if there were vinegar in them. At night he burnt with fever; during the day, he was repeatedly under the effects of lassitude. Perspiration was profuse, while with his expectorations of phlegm, he brought up blood. The whole number of these several ailments came upon him before the expiry of a year, with the result that, in course of time, he had not the strength to bear himself up. Of a sudden he would fall down, and with his eyes, albeit closed, his spirit would be still plunged in confused dreams, while his mouth would be full of nonsense, and he would be subject to strange starts. Every kind of doctor was asked to come in, and every treatment had recourse to; and though of such medicines as cinnamon, aconitum seeds, turtle shell, ophiopogon, Yü Chu herb and the like, he took several tens of catties, he nevertheless experienced no change for the better; so that by the time the 12th moon drew once again to an end, and spring returned, this illness had become still more serious. Tai ju was very much concerned, and invited doctors from all parts to attend to him, but none of them could do him any good; and as later on he had to take nothing else but decoctions of pure ginseng, Tai ju could of course not afford it. Having no other help but to come over to the Jung mansion and make requisition for some, madame Wang asked lady Feng to weigh 2 taels of it and give it to him. "The other day," rejoined lady Feng, "not long ago, when we concocted some medicine for our dowager lady, you told us, madame, to keep the pieces that were whole, to present to the spouses of General Yang to make physic with; and as it happens, it was only yesterday that I sent some one round with them." "If there's none over here in our place," suggested madame Wang, "just send a servant to your mother in law's, on the other side, to inquire whether they have any; or it may possibly be that your elder brother in law, Chen, over there might have a little; if so, put all you get together and give it to them; and when he shall have taken it and got well, and you shall have saved the life of a human being, it will really be to the benefit of you all." Lady Feng acquiesced, but without directing a single person to institute any search, she simply took some refuse twigs, and making up a few mace, she despatched them with a meagre message that they had been sent by madame Wang, and that there was, in fact, no more; subsequently reporting to madame Wang that she had asked for and obtained all that there was, and that she had collected as much as 2 taels and forwarded to them. Chia Jui was, meanwhile, very anxious to recover his health, so that there was no medicine that he would not take, but the outlay of money was of no avail, for he derived no benefit. On a certain day, and at an unexpected moment, a lame Taoist priest came to beg for alms, and he averred that he had the special gift of healing diseases arising from grievances received; and as Chia Jui happened, from inside, to hear what he said, he forthwith shouted out: "Go at once and bid that divine come in and save my life," while he reverentially knocked his head on the pillow. The whole bevy of servants felt constrained to usher the Taoist in, and Chia Jui, taking hold of him with a dash: "My Buddha," he repeatedly cried out, "save my life!" The Taoist heaved a sigh. "This ailment of yours," he remarked, "is not one that could be healed with any medicine. I have a precious thing here which I'll give you, and if you gaze at it every day, your life can be saved." When he had done talking, he produced from his pouch a looking glass, which could reflect a person's face on the front and back as well. On the upper part of the back were engraved the 4 characters: "Precious mirror of voluptuousness." Handing it over to Chia Jui: "This object," he proceeded, "emanates from the primordial confines of the great void, and has been wrought by the monitory dream fairy in the palace of unreality and spirituality, with the sole intent of healing the illnesses which originate from evil thoughts and improper designs. Possessing, as it does, the virtue of relieving mankind and preserving life, I have consequently brought it along with me into the world, but I only give it to those intelligent, preeminent, and refined princely men to set their eyes on. On no account must you look at the front side, and you should only gaze at the back of it. This is urgent! This is expedient! After 3 days,
I shall come and fetch it away, by which time I'm sure it will have made him all right."
These words finished, he walked away with leisurely step, and though all tried to detain him, they could not succeed. Chia Jui received the mirror. "This Taoist," he thought, "would seem to speak sensibly, and why should I not look at it and try its effect?" At the conclusion of these thoughts, he took up the mirror of voluptuousness and cast his eyes on the obverse side; but upon perceiving nought else than a skeleton standing in it, Chia Jui sustained such a fright that he lost no time in covering it with his hands, and abusing the Taoist.
"You good for nothing!" he exclaimed, "why should you frighten me so? But I'll go further and look at the front and see what it's like."
While he reflected in this manner, he readily looked into the face of the mirror, wherein he caught sight of lady Feng standing, nodding her head and beckoning to him. With one gush of joy, Chia Jui felt himself, in a vague and mysterious manner, transported into the mirror, where he held an affectionate tête-à-tête with lady Feng. Lady Feng escorted him out again. On his return to bed, he gave vent to an exclamation of "Ai ya!" and opening his eyes, he turned the glass over once more, but still, as hitherto, stood the skeleton in the back part. Chia Jui had, it is true, experienced all the pleasant sensations of a tête-à-tête, but his heart nevertheless did not feel gratified, so that he again turned the front round and gazed at lady Feng, as she still waved her hand and beckoned to him to go. Once more entering the mirror, he went on in the same way for 3 or 4 times, until this occasion, when just as he was about to issue from the mirror, he espied 2 persons come up to him, who made him fast with chains round the neck and hauled him away. Chia Jui shouted, "Let me take the mirror and I'll come along!" But only this remark could he utter, for it was forthwith beyond his power to say one word more. The servants, who stood by in attendance, saw him at first still holding the glass in his hand and looking in, and then, when it fell from his grasp, open his eyes again to pick it up; but when at length the mirror dropped, and he at once ceased to move, they in a body came forward to ascertain what had happened to him. He had already breathed his last. The lower part of his body was icy cold, his clothes moist from profuse perspiration. With all promptitude, they changed him there and then, and carried him to another bed. Tai ju and his wife wept bitterly for him, to the utter disregard of their own lives, while in violent terms they abused the Taoist priest. "What kind of magical mirror is it?" they asked. "If we don't destroy this glass, it will do harm to not a few men in the world." Having forthwith given directions to bring fire and burn it, a voice was heard in the air to say,
"Who told you to look into the face of it? You yourselves have mistaken what is false for what is true, and why burn this glass of mine?"
Suddenly the mirror was seen to fly away into the air, and when Tai ju went out of doors to see, he found no one else than the limping Taoist shouting,
"Who is he who wishes to destroy the mirror of voluptuousness?"
While uttering these words, he snatched the glass, and, as all eyes were fixed upon him, he moved away lissomely, as if swayed by the wind. Tai ju at once made preparations for the funeral, and went everywhere to give notice that on the 3rd day the obsequies would commence, that on the 7th the procession would start to escort the coffin to the iron fenced temple, and that on the subsequent day it would be taken to his original home. Not much time elapsed before all the members of the Chia family came, in a body, to express their condolences. Chia She, of the Jung mansion, presented 20 taels, and Chia Cheng also gave 20 taels. Of the Ning mansion, Chia Chen likewise contributed 20 taels. The remainder of the members of the clan, of whom some were poor and some rich and not equally well off, gave either 1 or 2 taels, or 3 or 4, some more, some less. Among strangers there were also contributions, respectively presented by the families of his fellow scholars, amounting likewise collectively to 20 or 30 taels. The private means of Tai-ju were, it is true, precarious, but with the monetary assistance he obtained, he anyhow performed the funeral rites with all splendour and éclat. But who would have thought it, at the close of the winter of this year, Lin Ju-hai contracted a serious illness, and forwarded a letter, by some one, with the express purpose of fetching Lin Tai-yü back. These tidings, when they reached dowager lady Chia, naturally added to the grief and distress she already suffered, but she felt compelled to make speedy preparations for Tai yü's departure. Pao-yü too was intensely cut up, but he had no alternative but to defer to the affection of the father and daughter, nor could he very well place any hindrance in the way. Old lady Chia, in due course, made up her mind that she would like Chia Lien to accompany her, and she also asked him to bring her back again along with him. But no minute particulars need be given of the manifold local presents and of the preparations, which were of course everything that could be wished for in excellence and perfectness. Forthwith the day for starting was selected, and Chia Lien, along with Lin Tai-yü, said good bye to all the members of the family, and followed by their attendants, they went on board their boats, and set out on their journey for Yang-chou. But reader, should you have any wish to know fuller details, listen to the account given in the subsequent chapter. End of section 27.